Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the Google Pixel 10 and compare it against the Google Pixel 6 and see how these phones basically hold up in 2025. Now, the thing I can definitely tell you about both these particular phones is that they both bring a lot of stuff to the table. I'm a big fan of both these devices when it comes down to it, but clearly the Pixel 10 is the way better one here. But I still think there are a lot of ways that the Pixel 6 basically did kind of go through and give us like a good type of experience for the most part. So I'm excited to see how both these phones kind of compare. If you want to pick up either one of these phones though, or some other phones I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular devices. The Google Pixel 6 originally came out back in 2021. And the thing with this particular phone, and the thing that I really liked about the Pixel 6, was that it was a kind of branch away from their standard types of phones that they were making at the time. With the Pixel 6 on the front side, you're basically able to get a 6.4-inch AMOLED display. So this phone came out in 2021, so it's already 4 years old, and a 6.4-inch display is still a pretty good looking panel. You're able to get, 90 hertz on it, which is a little outdated, and it really wasn't like the brightest panel of that time. So I like the design of it. I thought it looked really nice, a hole punch display, but it definitely is a little bit more outdated compared to some of the phones that we have nowadays. Some of the ways it's outdated, number one, no 120 hertz display, but it is giving you a 90 hertz display. But that is kind of a little outdated. Pretty thick bezels on the Pixel 6 as well, which is kind of another slight issue you're getting inside of this phone too. So again, it's not an ugly phone, but it is just one of those things to keep in mind there. The Pixel 10 is a way more modern looking phone with rounded edges, and it just looks so much better. With this phone, you're getting a smaller 6.3-inch OLED display. So it's a slightly smaller display, but it is a 120 hertz display, which is nice. And it's giving you 3000 nits of peak brightness. So with a panel like the Pixel 10, that type of phone does give you kind of a higher likelihood of giving you a pretty good type of experience when it comes down to it. And I know for one, if I'm looking at a phone and I'm, personally using it, I definitely do love having a phone like the Pixel 10 that's going to be giving me a much more, up-to-date type of experience. And it's going to look like a better phone rather than something like a Pixel, 6. So for me personally, I think that right there is also just another one of those like pretty big things to keep in mind there for the most part. Like if I'm about to go through and pick up a phone, that right there I think is a really important thing to keep in mind there. Now, on top of that, I think another important thing to keep in mind here too is that with both these phones, they're both giving you USB Type-C ports on the bottom. On the back side, they're giving you these standard glass backs. So as always, that's something that I actually do like a lot and what I prefer when I'm using a phone. Like if I'm personally using a device, I definitely want to pick up a phone that is going to be giving me some sort of, perspective like that. And with both the Pixel 10 and the Pixel 6, I definitely do think that is going to be a really nice thing to keep in mind there for the most part from that side. Now they're both giving you wireless charging on the back side. The Pixel 10 does give you, and the Pixel 6 give you reverse wireless charging, which is really nice. And overall, when I look at the outside, they both give you a lot of really nice things, but the Pixel 10 is way better. But it's also way more expensive to buy the Pixel 10. The Pixel 6 is like $133 right now on Amazon. The Pixel 10 is basically $800 brand new. So it's up to you to kind of see how you kind of want to take it. But depending on, which way you kind of look at it, the Pixel 10 has a very high likelihood of kind of giving you a better type of experience from that side compared to the Pixel 6. So from that side too, that kind of covers it up there. Now, on top of that, another important thing to keep in mind here as well is basically the cameras. So the Pixel 6 is basically giving you this dual camera setup on the backside. It's going to be a 50 megapixel wide and a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, where the Pixel 10 is going to be giving you a 48 megapixel wide, 10.8 megapixel telephoto, and a 13 megapixel ultra wide camera. So definitely whichever way you kind of look at it, something like the Pixel 10 is going to be the one that's going to be giving you an overall better type of camera layout than something like the Pixel 6. They're both giving you 4K at 60 on the back. However, the Pixel 10 is giving you 4K at 60 on the front, where the Pixel 6 is giving you 1080p at 30 on the front. Which honestly, I'm not gonna lie, 4K at 60 on the front is like kind of like a bare minimum nowadays. And the Pixel 6 from 2021 having 1080p on the front, it's a little bit outdated, but I can kind of give it some slack. But I would definitely tell you with something like the Google Pixel 10, this is going to be a significantly better camera. The quality of that lens is going to look a lot nicer. And when you take photos and videos and all those things, that one is going to be giving you an overall better type of experience on that type of phone rather than something like on the Google Pixel, 6. So from that side too, if you're trying to get the phone that's going to be giving you a better type of experience, then definitely something like the Google Pixel 10 is going to be the one that's going to be a much better experience from that particular side than the Google Pixel 6. So from that particular side, that kind of covers it up there. Now, on top of that, when it kind of comes down to their software longevity, this is also another important thing to keep in mind here as well. So between both the Google Pixel 6 and the Google Pixel 10, they're both on stock Android, but the Google Pixel 10 is one of those types of devices that's going to be supported with software for many years, probably like another 7 years or so. The Google Pixel, 6 is basically done getting software support. So that phone is no longer getting any more software updates. And that is kind of a problem, right? Like if you're going to go through and pick up some sort of a device, I would hate for you to go through and buy a phone that's already outdated with software. And that is precisely what's going on when you're going to go through and buy something like a Google Pixel 6. So kind of keep that in mind. If you're trying to pick up a phone like that, then definitely something like the Google Pixel 6 is going to be one of those devices that's going to give you some sort of issues from that standpoint. But with something like the Google Pixel 10, this phone is just getting started, but there's also a lot of phones in between. Like if you want to buy something like a Pixel 9 or a Pixel 8, one of those phones too, those devices are also going to give you lots of really good experiences from that particular side as well. So from that side too, that kind of covers it up there. Now on top of that, another really important thing to keep in mind here as well is basically when it comes down to their performance. The Pixel 10 is basically going to be able to go through and give you the standard Google Tensor 1 chipset with 8 gigabytes of RAM, where the Pixel 10 is able to go through and basically give you the Google Tensor G5 chipset inside with 12 gigabytes of RAM. So this right there is also another really big takeaway, because if you're trying to go through and get the phone that's going to be giving you an overall better experience, once again, it's going to come down to something like the Google Pixel 10. This one is going to be significantly faster, it's going to perform way better, and it's going to also look way better as well. And I think that right there is another one of these really big things to keep in mind there as well. Whereas with something like the Google Pixel 6, that's just, it's an outdated phone. It's not really going to be performing that great either. And that is going to be one of those types of issues to kind of keep in mind there as well. So to kind of sum it up, what I definitely will tell you is that between both of these devices, the Google Pixel 10 and the Google Pixel 6, the Pixel 6 was a great phone when it first came out, and it brought a lot of stuff to the table. But in this day and age, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to buy that type of phone anymore. I feel like that type of phone is just giving you issues, and it's just not really a great phone I'd recommend people to buy anymore. I think there's way better devices out there for people to buy rather than something like a Google Pixel 6. And I think the Pixel 10 is a great device. But with that being said, I would also say if you're able to go through and pick up a device, maybe a device like a Google Pixel 9 Pro, Pixel 8 would also be a good upgrade. You can also buy a Galaxy S24 or S25 as well. I think those would be really good phones as well. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.